Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to episode 80 of the Walking Dead TV podcast. I'm Jordan from Jersey, a.k.a. Dr. Esquire, and I'm joined tonight by Russell Latham and Jim Dietz. How you guys doing?
Well, pretty good, I guess. Texans won today.
Just dealing with the aftermath of the apocalypse. I really think it was kind of overrated. You know, everybody was, oh, the apocalypse. I mean, I barely got anything. You know, there's a little extra dust on my car. That was it.
Yeah, a bit overblown. So it's been a long time since we've done an episode, and we do apologize about that. But like we said, we had the holidays and the apocalypse to deal with. So, it took a while to get back on the horse. But we're here. Tonight we're going to be talking some news. We're going to be playing some of your voicemails. We're going to hold the emails for their own show to do feedback for the final episode, part 1 of the season. But we will certainly get to them, and we have plenty of stuff to talk about. So what do you say we get right to it, guys?
Sounds good, Dan. Let's roll.
All right, so the first and probably biggest piece of news concerning the TV show is Walking Dead has been officially picked up for Season 4 by AMC. That's the good news. On the bad news, or the meh news, depending on how you want to look at it, Glenn Mazzara will be leaving the show after Season 3. He, of course, picked up as showrunner from Darabont halfway through Season 2, and so he has been in control all of this season. And I think generally we liked what he did better than what Darabont was doing. He just seemed to have a better feel for television, but he'll be leaving the show after the season. At least from the official word, it was a mutual decision between he and AMC. We don't really know what went on behind the scenes, but it doesn't seem nearly as angry as the Darabont one was. So what do you guys think?
I think it's another example of AMC holding onto the purse strings a little too tight. My guess, and I have no inside information or what have you on this, but my guess is that he was given a better offer by probably some of the higher tier network, like maybe HBO, Showtime, something like that. AMC is notorious for putting on these quality shows on shoestring budgets a lot of the time. I mean, we saw the budget cuts at the beginning of the third season, and that would be my guess is that he was offered a better, bigger project with a higher budget than another.
Well, it's funny. He's come out and said flat out that he had a disagreement with direction of the show. So I wonder if his disagreement with direction wasn't the network, but with Kirkman. I wonder if him and Kirkman just kind of weren't seeing eye to eye on what was going on, because they've been very. It seemed like the Darabont stuff was a lot more prominent, a lot more in the media, and it was kind of like one big announcement. We haven't heard a lot from anybody else, and then it's just kind of fizzled.
Yeah.
But at least we'll get the end of the third season with Mazzara at the helm before we get a new showrunner.
Right. I mean, I say this, don't become chicken littles, everybody. The sky is not falling down. Everybody freaked out when Darabont left, and the show's going to be terrible. And I think most of us agree it was better after he left. Glenn Mazzara did a great job. And you know what? He did a great job, but that doesn't mean someone else can't do an equally good, if not better job taking over from him. I don't think we have an official word on who will be the showrunner for Season 4 going forward, but it's not one person in charge. Jesse is the showrunner. But, a TV show is made up of a lot of moving parts, and yes, a showrunner can impact that quite a bit, but it's not like everything falls apart the moment they leave, as evidenced by when Darabont left and Mazzara took over. So, I still have high hopes for Series 4, and, I'm not getting ready to throw my hat in the ring anytime soon. That's the wrong metaphor, isn't it?
This didn't really throw me off the wrong way, to be honest with you, because, like you said, Jordan, we all kind of freaked out a bit with Darabont. We thought maybe AMC, had been smoking something funny or whatever, and things turned out just fine. So, Kirkman, one of the things, too, that happened in Season 3 is I think Kirkman, and probably the end of Season 2 really as well, Kirkman became more prominent in the writer's room, from what I understand. I mean, I think in the first season, he fully wrote, I think, one show. And I think for season, at least the second half of Season 2 and then for Season 3, he's become more prominent with the writing. So I don't know if that's had something to do with it as well. None of us are in the room, so it's kind of hard to say. But I'm not freaked out by this. I mean, I'm a little sad because I think, I do think Glenn Mazzara was doing a good job, and everybody was very positive of him. I know just watching like Talking Dead and looking at interviews online, the cast, the crew, a lot of folks were really happy with his ability and what he was doing with the show. But, these things happen all the time on television. I mean, look what happened, completely different show, but look what happened with Smallville. When Alfred Miller left, everybody thought the world was going to come to an end and the show was going to fall off the rails. And that's when it really started. They brought Johns in, it started to get steeped in a little more of the DC continuity, and it actually turned out to be a pretty fun show the last 3 seasons. So, you just never know with these things sometimes.
And another point I'd like to make, I think I made this on the Facebook group, which you can, of course, find by going to Facebook and searching for Walking Dead TV Podcast, joining the conversation there. But TV shows change showrunners all the time. It is not a rare occurrence at all. But for some reason, when it happens with a genre show, be sci-fi, fantasy, any of that kind of stuff, it becomes a huge news story. If it happens for CSI or one of the 47 NCIS shows, you never hear about it. It's a small blurb and nobody cares because, well, for the most part, people who watch those shows don't know who the showrunners are or care. But like I said, this happens all the time across all shows on all networks, and usually it's not a big deal. The shows continue on as they were, more or less, and no one bats an eye. So I kind of wish, in a way, that fans of genre shows would treat it the same way with the shows they love. And in a sense, yes, we do get attached to creators because we like to trumpet them just like the writers of comic books or the directors of movies. But life goes on. This just happens.
Yeah, and I think because the show is so popular right now, it's really under a magnifying glass. Every single thing that's going to happen on the show is going to end up in the papers, in the news, and in the media, and something to be talked about because of the vast popularity of the show. So, I mean, it's a testament to how many people are interested. But again, Jordan makes a very good point. We should just wait and see what happens at it. And like I said, we still have more episodes to go in Season 3 with Mazzara at the helm before we even have to change.
Absolutely. And I cannot wait for the second half of the season. Before we get on to the listener feedback and all the rest of our news, Russ, why don't you tell our fine listeners about our sponsor?
I will. Well, our sponsor today, as always, is Discount Comic Book Service. That's dcbservice.com, where you can save tons of money on your comic books, trade paperbacks, hardcovers, toys, t-shirts, all kinds of goodies. And the January orders are up, and this month is the free comic book day ordering, which is really cool to do. So if some of you don't know, in May, comic shops do what they call free comic book day. Across the country, most comics allow you to take anywhere from 1 to 10 free comic books that they put out in hopes to kind of gain more sales. It's a really cool thing to take part in. It's kind of gaining momentum over time. One thing to note, though, is the comic books are not free to the retailers. There is a small expense that they go through to get those in and give those to you folks that come in the door. But DCBS, if you order that month, allows you to pick out free 5 comic books. And this month, coincidentally, there is a Walking Dead free comic book day edition, which is something pretty new to Free Comic Book Day. They've been doing it for many years now, and this is the first time I can recall in The Walking Dead's history that they actually have a book in the fold for this. So be sure to check it out and take advantage of that.
And that book contains the Michonne short story, her kind of backstory, that has only so far been printed in Playboy. It's never been printed in comic form. It also has a Tyrese short story and another one, I believe. Her story has been printed before in comic form?
Yeah, they did a Michonne special that came out last month, and funny enough, it's up for reorder this month.
Then the news article I read lied to me. How dare you, news article?
The Michonne special is available to order again. It's really cool. I did pick it up. It reprints her first appearance in the Walking Dead comic. It reprints the Playboy article in it as well. There's also this month a Governor special that's 50% off. So instead of paying $2.99, you'll pay $149. The Walking Dead Compendium, which we talk about all the time, the first 48 issues of The Walking Dead, is being solicited again at 40% off. So it's only $35.99. So $35.99 for 48 issues of The Walking Dead. It's a crazy deal. I cannot recommend it enough. For current issues, Walking Dead 108 is on sale for 40% off at $179. And number 3 of The Walking Dead magazine, you can get it for pre-order at 25% off for $749. So great deals. Also with DCBS, if you happen to have your order late, and I can bear witness this firsthand, somehow I forgot to place my November order, and when I went to do my December order, and I sent them the spreadsheet, sent a little note, and they were awesome. They placed my order. They're going to do everything in their power to get me all those issues, even though they are currently shipping right now. So just outstanding customer service. If you use the code WD8, you can save an extra 8% on your first month's order. Please visit them at their website, dcbservice.com. We thank them for their support.
Very cool. Thank you, Russ. I believe we have 2 voicemails. Why don't you play one of them for us now?
Yeah, I just want to say I am really happy about where the show is and where it's going, but I do understand the concerns of the call you guys had on the show today about maybe things are moving a little too fast, especially since you guys said we're on volume 8 of the comic book, which I have not read. But I do think there is a lot of material to tap into. Like, I would like to know a little bit more about, how the group got reunited from the highway after the Atlanta napalm, and my guess is those zombies, anything that didn't burn up in the city was flowing outside of the city and probably attacked that highway group. And I would like to see a little more in there. I think you could dedicate a whole episode to that highway and how Dale and Andrea and Amy all got pulled together. I'm assuming Dale pulled them into the Winnebago as things started breaking down, and Rick Shane pulled everyone probably together and got them off the highway to that campsite. And I think there's a lot of stories to tell there, and it would be a good excuse to bring back Shane, Laurie, and all those characters to give them one last hurrah. I would love to see that. To me, that would be cool. But I just want to say I appreciate all the work you guys do. Thanks for the good work, and I can't wait till February. Thank you.
He left a name, but we do appreciate that. And we talked a little bit about flashbacks. You want to reiterate, guys, how you feel about flashback episodes as a possibility?
I'm fine with it if that's what they decide to do. I don't have a problem with the flashback. I think as the series moves on, I think it's going to be harder and harder for them to do that, just because cast is going to float in, cast is going to float out, and it's going to logistically, I imagine, it's going to be tougher to do that. But I'd be fine if they just took a break. If they could somehow tie it back to the events currently going on, I would be fine with them backing up a little bit and telling us more about what happened in those early days. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what that is. But I don't want to see it where it's a continual thing where they lean on it as a crutch.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said before, flashbacks don't really bother me, although I prefer more further momentum. What I'd be more interested to see, though, is, yes, they burn through a lot of story. They're almost, I don't think they're actually quite to volume 8, but they're right about to where it begins in the show. I'd probably be more interested in seeing them bring in more original stories. They peppered them in here and there alongside the comic stuff, or twisting the comic stuff to make it slightly different. But I'd be perfectly fine with them doing a storyline, a season, half a season, that's completely new, and there's no reason they can't do that. So the idea of them burning through the story, which so far is finite, although growing, doesn't really bother me. There's always new stories to tell. They don't have to be the same ones we've already heard.
Even if the ratio they're going now, say they are on trade 8 or whatever, volume 8 of the comic, we're near the end of the 3rd season. We just got volume 17, I believe, wasn't it, of the Walking Dead comic? So that gives us at least 3 more seasons of things, but we don't have to worry about whether they're going to come up with new things or whether they're going to run out of ideas. So we still have a lot of story to tell, even if they are running at a really fast pace.
So let's get to our second news story. We'll get back to the voicemails a little later. And that should be a congratulations to The Walking Dead video game from Telltale Games, because it won Video Game of the Year from the Spike VGAs, the Video Game Awards. And those are pretty much the biggest video game awards out there. There are, of course, other ones. But it won for Game of the Year over Assassin's Creed 3, Dishonored, Journey, and Mass Effect. It also won Studio of the Year, Telltale Games did.
It's also awarded Best Downloadable Game and Best Character Design for Lee at the Inside Gaming Awards this year.
And it also won from the VGA's Best Adapted Video Game, and also, again, Best Downloadable Game, which is kind of a big thing. This is the first downloadable game that has won the Spike VGAs. Never happened before. It kind of sets a new precedent, and a cool one, I think.
Something that's also pretty cool about this game, the 360 version of the Walking Dead video game, it has the highest aggregate score across all video games of the year, regardless of platform on Metacritic. I mean, it is not only is it a popular game, popular choice like with the Spike VGAs, but a lot of more critical, hardcore gamers have really grafted to it as well. Kotaku nominated it as one of its games of the year. Geek Magazine named it Game of the Year. I know Destructoid named it as Game of the Year and Best Multi-Platform Game. There's a lot of really great critical word of mouth behind it.
Absolutely. If you have not checked it out yet, if you got some gift cards, you can buy Xbox Live points or PSN points or anything like that for Christmas. You got, not that most people have a lot of money burning a hole in their pocket right after Christmas, but if you did for some reason, absolutely pick it up. It's not that expensive, and it is certainly worth the price if you like or can at least stand point-and-click adventures, which I certainly do.
And also the game's going to be available on disc as well. All 5 episodes on one disc. So.
Right, yeah. There's also been a trailer released for the upcoming Walking Dead first-person shooter for Walking Dead Survival Instinct, where you play as Daryl and Merle, the Dixon brothers themselves. And Jim, you've seen the trailer, so why don't you tell the fine people listening what they can expect from the trailer?
I have, and it's set up as a first-person shooter developed by one of Activision's internal studios, Terminal Reality. And unlike the Walking Dead game that we already have, which is more of an adventure game or point-and-click game or what have you, this is using a full first-person shooter engine. The trailer, we really didn't get to see any gameplay yet, but they have given it a name. To differentiate itself from the other video games, it's going to be called Walking Dead Survival Instinct. Basically, it's going to be a full first-person shooter. As I mentioned earlier, we haven't seen any gameplay yet. But Activision, they have the Call of Duty engine at their disposal. They have a lot of know-how. And Terminal Reality really isn't known for doing first-person shooters, and they are shooting for a release date of 2013. So we are supposed to see this game this year. So it'll be interesting to see whether it'll be that kind of survival first-person shooter will be adapted from like the Call of Duty engine or Battlefield 3 engine or what have you. And if they can get it out the door quickly enough and bug-free enough, that it'll be worth playing. So.
And to be clear, the trailer we're discussing is not an official trailer. It was put together by fans using gameplay footage that was featured on IGN, so it might be a little bit of an early build. But there is an official trailer as well, it just doesn't show gameplay footage.
Right, the official trailer you can see on YouTube if you Google Walking Dead Survival Instinct. I think it's on Activision's YouTube page.
Right. Well, of course, Brad and John cannot be with us tonight. They're both busy with some other matters, but I did want to take this time to spotlight Brad Milo's other show, Half Hour Wasted. In the time since we put out our last Walking Dead episode, they actually put out their 300th episode, and it is a real treat. It's a lot of fun to listen to. A lot of the guys from the show actually show up, as well as a lot of their listeners who called in, and so it's a lot of fun. You should definitely check it out. Meanwhile, over at Legion of Dudes, which is, of course, the show Russ, Jim, and I, as well as John, and our buddy Ken, do, we have had recently some more fun movie episodes. We talked about Superman Returns, Batman and Robin. Coming up next week will be our BS episode for the month, where we talk about all kinds of fun stuff, and then we're going to be doing Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. We'll be talking about that in depth, so that should be a lot of fun as well, so check that out as well. Both Half Hour Wasted and Legion of Dudes can be found at hhwled.com, or just go to walkingdeadtv.com and click the link right at the top of the page. You will not be disappointed, or at least we hope not.
If you don't like it, you can get your money back.
Absolutely. We also just had on Legion of Dudes our annual Duty Awards, where we talk about the best in video games, movies, television shows, and comics, so you can hear what we thought, and we actually had all of our listeners on that show vote this year, so that was pretty cool. As well as Half Hour Wasted, an episode where they talked about our awards and they voted themselves. That was pretty fun to listen to. If you're looking for new stuff to check out in video games, movies, television, or of course comics, which is our forte, give those shows a listen. You'll find some new stuff that's really cool, and all the dudes can agree it's awesome and worth reading, watching, or listening to. Russ, why don't you play that other voicemail for us now?
Will do. This one's a little longer, so here we go.
Hey guys, it's Meg from Poughkeepsie. I just listened to your podcast for Made to Suffer. Loved the show because I also loved the episode Made to Suffer, and I think I wrote on Twitter that I gave it 5 Merle's fingers. If he had more fingers, I would have given it more. It was a great episode. But one of the things that disturbed me about the episode, or at least made me puzzle, was what the heck happened to Michonne that made her so mad at the governor? And I kind of thought that you guys were going to talk about that. Why is she all gunning for him or knifing for him? In the comic book, she's, it's clear why she would want him dead. We know that. I mean, it was horrible what happened to her, but nothing like that happened to her or to Andrea or to anybody else in her sight, except for that he's a weirdo and he keeps walkers in a locked area. And so what I wonder too, it's just her intuition. It's just weird. The one thing that I did notice is that the only one who said anything out loud about this weirdness was Andrea. She said, like, what has gotten into you? What is wrong with you? Or something like that. So, I know you guys count on Andrea, and I don't totally love Andrea, but I think I'd like to see her not die and become better and use her sharpshooting and perhaps kill the governor. I'd rather not have the governor around because I would like him to be more sinister, and I think he's just kind of wimpy and, he was a crybaby. Anyway, love your show, and take care.
Thank you, Meg from Poughkeepsie. Well, a couple issues there. I guess the first would be Michonne's reason for going back to the governor, and she's absolutely right. In the comic, there is a clear, and you can't really argue with her position in the comic. There's a reason why she wants him dead, and she's, I think, totally justified in wanting him dead. In the show, she's got mostly her intuition, but she also does have the knowledge that he sent 3 men to track her down and kill her. And while that's not as good of a reason as she had in the comics, I don't think it's necessarily a bad one. But above the fact that he's just a bad guy in general, he specifically had an order put out to have her killed. I'd probably be pretty ticked too. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I wouldn't take too kindly to that.
The motivation is with Michonne on why she has a gunning for the governor. I think in looking at some of the Facebook stuff right after the show, I think some folks kind of forgot that she had Merle and crew go out to kill her, and so that's why she's so crazy. I mean, she was always a little maybe unjustified or slightly unjustified in her suspiciousness and everything from the get-go, and part of it may be that we just don't know enough about her character to understand what her motivations are for that. I mean, we don't know what she's been through in the show prior to that would make her so suspicious. So it's hard to say. But yeah, it didn't bother me at all that she came back and was gunning for him.
The other issue I find interesting, and she brings up with Andrea, that Andrea was the only one to ask, why are you so upset? And Meg didn't have the problem with Andrea, but a lot of people have, where they say, how could Andrea possibly be so blind to everything that's going on? And at the same time, you have other people, not necessarily the same people, saying, why in the world does Michonne assume all these things are going on when she doesn't have evidence? And in a lot of ways, I would liken it to The Dark Knight Rises in many ways, or at least Batman mythology in general, but definitely The Dark Knight Rises, where, and this is mild spoilers for a part of the movie that happens like half an hour in, so just warning you, but everybody goes, how in the world does Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character figure out who Batman is? And at the same time, they go, how in the world does Jim Gordon not figure out who Batman is? And I find that dichotomy interesting, where it's, and part of it is the reasoning behind why these characters figure these things out or assume them, but that we will accept certain things from certain characters, but the same things in reverse we get bothered by from other characters. And I just find that interesting.
I also think that David Morrissey, the way he was playing the governor so far, I mean, I know Megan made a remark about the governor being kind of wimpy and not sinister enough. I think now, after the quote-unquote terrorist insurgents we had in the final episode of the first half of the 3rd season, that we're going to see a little bit more of that ruthlessness and a little more of that viciousness that we know from the governor from the comic, I think.
And on terms of him being a crybaby, I would probably be in tears too if I got stabbed in the eye with a piece of glass, but hopefully I will never find out.
Hopefully you never will.
Ears open.
But I think the more vicious governor, more ruthless governor, I think is on the way. I think we're just going to have to sit tight and see the second half of the 3rd season to see more of that.
And speaking of which, they've released 2 new trailers. Well, 1 trailer and 1 scene, rather, from the next episode of Season 3 on AMCTV.com, and I believe also one from on YouTube, if not both. But I definitely got the sense of a little bit more sinisterness from the governor in what I saw from. There's a little bit more ruthlessness and more gung-ho attitude, and at least from what I saw, no crying, so good sign.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I take this softer side, quote unquote, of the governor as just being they're taking a little more time to develop his character. I'm assuming they're taking a little more time to to let us get to know this character a little better and see a bigger character arc. I've said it before. I have no foreknowledge of this, no concrete anything, but I think the governor's going to be one of those characters that's going to be around for at least a couple seasons. And I think if they go too hard, too fast with him, then he just becomes so one note that to drag him on as a character acting that way just gets a little old.
Plus, it's more understandable why Andrea would believe him or be with him or want to side with him, because we see a more sympathetic side of the character than we would if he was just ruthless as he was in the comic.
Yeah, I kind of gave my thoughts on that last episode as well, and a lot of it just had to do with hearing Robert Kirkman's own words from The Talking Dead, and just that Andrea so wants to have this place to fit in, to believe that she's willing to be somewhat blinded by obvious things, just to have that normalcy, back in her life after all the craziness that she's been through. So I take that, again, came straight from the horse's mouth, so I tend to take it for that, and I'm fine with it. Like it doesn't really bother me.
So coming up on Walking Dead TV, we're, of course, like I said earlier, going to do an episode all from your feedback with all the emails we've gotten in from this first half of the season that we haven't gotten to yet. We're also, at least Jim, Russ, and I, and possibly some other friends, we're not sure yet, will be doing another Breaking Bad episode. We did one of these a while back where we talk about Breaking Bad and Mad Men, the other 2 flagship shows from AMC, which all 3 of us enjoy quite a bit, particularly Breaking Bad, and Mad Men is a close second for me. So we'll be talking about those shows in general and also some of the stuff that's happened since we've done our first Breaking Bad show, so that should be pretty fun, and we hope you stick around for that as well. So since we're going to be doing that feedback episode coming up, you can, of course, always get more voicemails and more emails in before we record it. Jim, why don't you tell the fine people how they can get in contact with us?
You can leave us a voicemail at 516-468-7912 and let us know in your voicemail what you thought of the first half of the 3rd season, or what you'd like us to do, or what you think of The Walking Dead, or zombies, or whatever. And as you can tell, you're probably going to play it on the show because we play 2 voicemails on this very show right here. So we listen to them. We love them. Please send us a voicemail. You can also send us an email to comments@walkingdeadtv.com. You can also check out our Facebook group, which is very vocal. You can follow us on Twitter at WDTV Podcast and at HHWLOD_network for all of our fine programming.
So until there's no more room in hell and the dead walk the earth, remember, come on, people, Bruce Wayne is Batman. It's obvious. Have a good week, everybody.
So long.
Podcast. I'm Jordan from Jersey, aka Dr. Esquire. And
quick edit. I guess if I cut out, I'll let you know when I come back in, but I'll just keep pushing through it because I'm just all f***ed up today. I don't know what to...
Yeah, no problem. We'll just try to keep quiet.
Skype is being a bitch. All right, here we go.
Skype is
it
a
is.
cool bit.
All right, here we go. I will do. So here's the first voicemail, and then we'll discuss it.
Okay, we can hear it very lightly in the background, but it's not coming through. Or he just dropped. Wow, what a fun voicemail.
Try this again.
Yeah, it was by a mine.
He seems to be trapped in a box.